Welcome back to Make It Monday, and this week I am working on a shawl, and it's going to be out of this yarn. So I'm going to be starting from the center and working out on the ball, and it's going to be a triangle shawl, so it's going to be start at the center, basically right here, so upper center of the back, and then worked out as a triangle, increasing as I go. So let me get everything turned around and I'll show you how it gets started. So for this shawl, I'm going to be making a tab and then picking up around the tab and continuing out so that it doesn't have a little bit of a hole right at the center top. So in this case, I'm going to do a garter stitch tab. And I am on fairly large needles, mostly, or fairly long needles, so that I don't have to switch needles when I get farther along in the shawl. Because if I started with double points or with 16-inch circulars, I would have to swap out when I get too far. So almost, amazingly enough, it's actually almost there, but I will be back in just a second when it's time for me to pick up stitches. So that's the little tab all finished, but now I'm going to pick up around the edge, and I'm doing this on the right side. So everything's going to be a knit to pick up instead of a purl to pick up. So I'm inserting through the edge, picking up a stitch, 3, 4, and then I need 4 more past there. So 1, 2. I'm going to do a second one through that stitch, and then 4. Okay, so I'm going to double check how many stitches I have. And now I'm going to be increasing stitches because I'm actually going to be doing cable work on this shawl. So just reaching down and grabbing a couple extra stitches. So that's the first cable. Second one. And again, I'm just reaching down and pulling up stitches just so that I don't have to worry about how many stitches are there for, or so I have the correct number of stitches for the cable work. And knitting the last stitch. Now, it's going to take quite a bit for this to look like anything, so I will be back when I'm well into this to show you how the cable work works and how the increases are working. So be back in a minute. So I've gotten to the center 2 cables of the shawl. I'm quite a few rows in, as you can see, and I'm going to transfer the first 2 stitches onto, in this case, a stitch holder. I'm holding them in the front, knitting 2, slipping those 2 back onto the needles, and then knitting them. Now, if I was using a double pointed needle or a cable needle, I wouldn't have to transfer them back. I could just knit off of that. And for the other side, I'm taking those 2 stitches, holding them to the back, knitting the next 2, and slipping them back on. And again, if I was using some other way of doing the cable, I could just knit off of that other way. Then yarn over and continue. So that is actually how the entire shawl is going to work up until the very end. I have gotten a lot farther before getting out of the dark teal than I thought I was going to. So we'll see how big this gets. And I will be back in a little bit to show you the edging and then the finished shawl. So I have finished up my last round of cables, and now it's time to decrease the stitches for the border. So I've worked all the way up to a cable. I'm going to insert through back of the loop with how I knit and purl through those 2, and then I'm going to do a slip purl for the other 2. That just makes it nice and clean on the other side. So again, I'm laying the center stitches over the outside stitches is what I'm effectively doing. So when I write my patterns, it is actually left leaning decrease, right leaning decrease, not many of the other terms. So again, that just decreases those stitches right there. I'm gonna go off camera, work on the border for a bit, and I'll be back to show you exactly how that's worked up. So I did forget to turn the camera back on for the final border. It is garter stitch, so it was just knit every row, continuing with the increases around the cables. And here is the final shawl. So it will get blocked slightly to get that final edge to lay flat, but this is how it turned out. About the size I thought it was going to be. And if you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you next time on Make It Mondays. Bye!